Hi everybody, I'm Ryan. Today we're going to talk how to sideboard against the top 10 most popular decks with Red-Black Scam, also known as Red-Black Evoke if you're Wizards of the Coast coverage, or Red-Black Midrange if you're MTG Goldfish, but the people in the know call it Red-Black Scam. So we're going to talk about how to sideboard against the top 10 decks, and hopefully you can use the information that you get from that to teach yourself how to sideboard against the other decks. Now, what this is not a deck tech. I actually posted the deck tech yesterday. You should check that out on the channel if you're more interested in that. That being said, let's jump into how to sideboard. So this is the Red-Black Scam list. This is the same list that I did the deck tech over. But before we get into the top 10 decks, let's talk about the role of each sideboard card. Fatal Push is just additional removal for cards that we need to interact with or might go underneath us. Leyline of the Void is our graveyard hate. Shieldred is for decks that can interact with us quite a bit, and we can't rely super heavily on our scams and might need to lean more heavily on the Red-Black midrange plan. Blood Moon for these 4 and 5 color decks, or Urza Saga. Hitasugu Consumes All is mostly for that first chapter, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less, for decks like Hardened Scales and Hammer Time and things like that are becoming more popular. Pithy Needle for activated abilities we care about. Engineered Explosives is really solid against Creativity is really solid against decks like Rhinos, Hammer Time, things like that. And Chalice of the Void is mostly for Cascade decks, because if you Chalice for 0, they cannot Cascade into Rhinos or Living End, but also pretty decent against Burn. So that being said, let's jump into it. The most popular deck is the Mirror Match. In the Mirror Match, we are bringing in Leyline of the Voids, so they can't scam us as easily. We're bringing in Fatal Push because removal is super important, especially if they do end up scamming us, or pretty much every creature in our opponent's deck is super valuable and powerful. And Shieldred because we know our opponent's going to be bringing an interaction to us. Ragavan is a liability because of Orcish Bowmasters. Blood Moon doesn't really do anything because they can just fetch Swamp super easily. And we're going to shave an Undying Evil. There's a chance our opponent brings in Graveyard Hate. Now, if you have open deck lists or you know your opponent is playing a lot of Graveyard Hate, I can see keeping in some number of Ragavan and taking out more of these Undying effects, because the Undying effects do nothing in the face of Leyline of the Void. That's why we're bringing it in the Mirror Match. But going in blind, I would sideboard like this in the Mirror Match. The second most popular deck is 4-color Omnath. Against 4-color Omnath, we are bringing in Shieldred. Super good against the One Ring, by the way. We're bringing in Fatal Push in an attempt to deal with these Omnaths and these important creatures more easily. Pithy Needle for Wrenn and 6 and Teferi. And Blood Moon, which can totally shut down this 4-color deck. Lightning Bolt doesn't really kill anything meaningful in our opponent's deck. We're going to be cutting down on our Undying effects, shaving the Undying Evils, and then 2 of the Not Dead After Alls. We really kind of have to just play a fair mid-range deck while trying to kind of get them with Blood Moon and like Griefs and Ragavans and things like that, because between Solitudes and Leyline Bindings and things and whatever, these scams often don't work. So this is sideboard against 4-color Omnath. The third most popular deck is Rhinos. Against Rhinos, we're bringing in the Chalice of the Voids. We can just Chalice for 0 and then they can't combo us. We're bringing in Engineered Explosives to clean up the mess. Engineer Explosives for 0, so we can just kill the Rhinos after they do combo us. And then we're bringing in the Shieldreds. Shieldreds block Rhinos pretty well, and are just a solid card to bring in because we actually have quite a few cards that are just bad. Like Orcish Bowmasters, kinda just bad. Blood Moon, kinda just bad. And then Lightning Bolt doesn't actually kill anything but Shardless Agent, and I'm not interested in that. So that's how I sideboard against Rhinos. The fourth most popular deck is Yawgmoth. Against Yawgmoth, we are bringing in Fatal Push. We're bringing in Leyline of the Void so they can't combo us, and the Undying creatures don't actually do anything. Young Wolf becoming just a 1/1 for 1 is dope. And then Pithy Needle is really solid against Yawgmoth, or against Grist. We're going to be bringing out Ragavan. It's really bad in the face of Orcish Bowmasters and Yawgmoth. And then we're going to be bringing out Blood Moon. Blood Moon's just not very good against 2-color decks, so I sideboard against Yawg. The fifth most popular deck is Murktide. Against Murktide, we're bringing in Leyline of the Void. Being able to turn off Murktide and turn off DRC, turn off Unholy Heat, are all very, very important things. We're bringing in Shieldred. They have so many draw effects. Shieldred can just deal so much damage over a huge amount of time. We're bringing out Blood Moon because it's really easy for them to fetch islands. And then they have a lot of interactions, so we're going to be shaving on Undying Evil. So I sideboard against Murktide. The sixth most popular deck is Hammer Time, where we're going to bring in Hitasugu Consumes All, which often wipes their board. Engineered Explosives, which often wipes their board. Whoa. There we go. And Fatal Push, which is often a very good removal. And Blood Moon is actually very good, mostly because of Urza Saga, and they often rely pretty heavily on Urza Saga. Now we're going to be bringing out Dothy Voidwalker, because there's not really anything we care about stealing out of our opponent's deck. And then we're going to be shaving on Orcish Bowmasters, just because we're not really going to be killing that much. It's really good against Inkmoth Nexus, but other than that, Orcish Bowmasters isn't dealing with much. So this is how I sideboard against Hammer Time. The next most popular deck is Burn. Against Burn, we're bringing in Shieldreds. The gain life actually is pretty relevant. Fatal Push, just a 1-mana removal spell, is super solid. And Chalice of the Voids, if we can Chalice for 1, then that is awesome, because that turns off a majority of their deck. Bringing out Blood Moon, their red deck, and bringing out Orcish Bowmasters, because it doesn't actually kill anything or do anything. So sideboard against Burn. The next most popular deck is Amulet Titan. Against Amulet Titan, we're bringing in Blood Moon, because they have a bunch of non-basic lands. Also, they have Urza Saga. Blood Moon's excellent against them. And we're bringing in Fatal Push to try to deal with Dryad. We're deciding out Orcish Bowmasters because it doesn't actually kill anything or do anything. It's fine against the One Ring, but I'd rather have literally everything else in my deck. And that's how I sideboard against Amulet Titan. The next most popular deck is Living End, where we're going to be bringing in Leyline of the Voids, deal with our graveyard, Chalice of the Voids to deal with Living End. And then we're going to be siding out of Blood Moon. Blood Moon just isn't good anymore against Living End because of the land cyclers. Siding out Terminate. If we have to cast Terminate, then things have already gone horribly wrong. We're likely going to lose. And then we're siding out 1 Lightning Bolt. We're keeping in the Lightning Bolt over the Terminate, just so we have a little bit more reach. We can go face with it, but we really don't want to draw this Lightning Bolt. We'd love 1 more card to bring in, but I don't think I want anything else in our sideboard. Maybe a Shieldred over the second Lightning Bolt, but I don't think so. So I sideboard against Living End. And then the 10th most popular deck in Modern is Hardened Scales. Against Hardened Scales, we're bringing in Hitotsugu for the same reason we bring it in against Hammer Time. We're bringing in Fatal Push, just solid removal. And then we're bringing in Blood Moon for the Urza Sagas. And we're going to be siding out of similar cards. Dauthi Voidwalker. Hardened Scales has no cards I want to steal. And in fact, a lot of cards that are actively bad to steal, like Hangerback Walker, because you can't actually spend mana on it. And so this is how I sideboard against Hardened Scales. So there you have how to sideboard against the top 10 most popular decks in Modern, with the best deck in Modern, or at least the most popular deck, Red Black Scam. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you to patrons on Patreon, especially Brianna, who was my first patron. I launched my Patreon earlier this week. If you're interested in sideboard guides, early access to videos, and a lot more, you should check out the Patreon. Links to that and other social medias like Twitter and Discord are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.